This is it, Chief. Why don't all the current leaders have different super units? That makes no sense. Time to go full gamer. High IQ. Okay, it's bootleg alien medic from Team Defense Fort 2. Yeet. Prophet of Regret literally has the same voice actor as Medic from Team Fortress 2, which is nice. Oh, I hear some flood in the boys. Yeet!
Fortress upgrade complete.
Moving out. Rolling. We're going. All right.
Local units.
Did I select Tug of War?
Our ally is planning to attack the enemy early and often.
Rolling out. We're going. Awesome.
Supply pad complete.
Rolling.
Okay, gamers, it's time to get serious.
We're going. On the move.
Barracks complete.
Let's go. All right.
Local units.
Let's roll. Let's go. All right. Rolling. On the move.
Halo theme, ear rape, intense supplies.
Supply pad complete.
Rolling out. Awesome.
Firebase ready.
Nice. I'm just gonna play normal mode because one v one epic gamers. Nice. Heck. Yeet, I got a good base already.
Moving out. Moving out. Moving out. Moving out. Moving out. Moving out. Moving out.
The enemy is building up their defenses. We will have time to prepare.
Cool and good. Time to build my own defenses.
Barracks complete. Turret complete.
Moving out. Moving out. Moving out.
Enemy engagement.
Moving out. Moving out.
Supply pad complete.
Moving out. Marines reporting for duty. Marines ready, sir. Flamethrower ready to burn.
Supply pad complete.
Flamethrower good to go. Flamethrower fueled and ready. moving. Regeneration healing targets.
Enemy engagement.
Get tactical.
Keep
Marine.
flaming those things!
Get some. Moving. Make some noise.
Get fire on that target!
Good to go. Roger.
Reactor
In
claimed.
order. Yes, sir. Standing by. Standing by. Yes, sir. We're going.
Supply pad upgraded. Supply pad upgraded.
Our enemy is distracted. He appears to be forgetting to train additional units.
Turret complete. Reactor complete. Gunner researched. Turret complete. Turret complete.
Yes, sir. Moving out. Moving out. Moving out. Moving out.
Vehicle depot complete. Station complete.
Enemy attack incoming to this base.
Our new hot, fresh breakfast will get you the readiest. Holiday Inn Express. Book now for at least 20% off during our annual sale.
Hey guys, welcome back. A few weeks ago, despite everything, this game still worries me. Real quick, I'm happy to announce that my merch is now officially available. If you look below the video, you should see the designs right there ready to buy. I designed them myself, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty damn happy with how they turned out, honestly. So if you want to rep Iconic out there in the world, then pick up a shirt or a hoodie today. Alrighty, so now that little sales pitch is over, I want to start off with a worry that isn't exactly anything bad per se. It's more an area of massive potential that I'm worried that 343 could miss, and that is post-release lore. Now, I feel like over the past few years, us guys on YouTube have proven that Halo's lore, both deep and shallow, still has a massive following despite the state of the rest of the game, and that people are still super into it, even during this massive dry period. With that in mind, it'd almost be a shame if the only type of lore content that we got in Infinite was just a regular campaign. Campaigns are very much a short-term loredom, if you get me. So you play through a campaign, you find the terminals, and pretty much that's it for lore until the next game in like 3 years' time. Yeah, there's books and comics and stuff, but rarely, if ever, do they have any impact on the main story, because, I mean, the percentage of Halo fans that read them is so low that it'd almost be counterintuitive for them to. So instead of just having the campaign, I feel like lore fans deserve something more than that. A mode that's dedicated to expanding Halo's lore and exploring parts of it that are maybe a little bit too complicated for the main story, but have the potential to create some really great offshooting stories. If Halo Infinite is set on Installation 07, like it's sure as shit looking like it is right now, the amount of deep lore that links back to the Forerunners, the Precursors, Ancient Humans, and the Flood on that ring is honestly insane. Like, some of these deeper aspects of the lore would be such a big shame to just ignore if the game is set on Zeta Halo, and a game mode that is dedicated to fleshing out this type of lore would be honestly perfect. I feel like Spartan Ops kind of tried this a little bit. The ideas were definitely there, it's just the execution was not so great. Now, I've said this for years and I will continue to say it, Call of Duty Zombies has forever been the king when it comes to this type of thing. More than ever, over recent years, the game mode has become incredibly lore and story focused, and the way that it tells its stories is, quite frankly, nothing short of genius. Now, given Installation 07's long history with the Flood, maybe a sort of lore-focused horde mode or something like that, where you have to find these ancient relics in the map to learn the history of the ring, or something on par with that would work, or maybe it could be something more linear, almost like a mini campaign that leads to you discovering the secrets of this mysterious Halo. If you have any ideas for this, then definitely leave them in the comments. Now, I know one thing that people will definitely talk about relating to this is campaign DLC, and it's something that I would definitely support, and it's an idea that 343 have definitely floated in the past few years with Halo Wars 2. So honestly, I'd be down for that. Despite some of the quite glaring issues with campaign DLC, I would support that. But basically my worry is that 343 will miss a huge opportunity to keep lore fans engaged over time, and also open up a new area of content creation that could honestly be really fucking popular if you look at how well Halo lore still does on YouTube, especially if the Flood are involved. I mean, they haven't been in a main game now for 11 years, and yet still, they have a huge fan base that wants to see them back. It'll honestly hurt so much to me if 343 don't jump on both of these opportunities with Infinite, because, in my opinion, they could be pretty damn lucrative for both the fans and also 343.
All units.
Okay, so moving over to my next worry, and this is something that's going to affect the community and also the game. It's a more immediate worry, and that is the release date. Now, so far, we don't even have a ballpark release date for Infinite. They've not even said, like, fall 2019 or something. We have genuinely nothing. We have no clue whatsoever when this thing is coming out, and given how fucking dry Halo is right now in terms of content, that's not a good thing. These super long periods without any form of content really do hurt the community, and it drives people away, which quite obviously is not a good thing. Granted, most people will come back when more news about Infinite starts to trickle out, but them leaving and getting temporarily bored of Halo causes a sort of knock-on effect to another really, really important aspect of a game, its community and also its popularity, content creators. Now, clearly, I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm not biased when it comes to this, because I definitely am, but it still doesn't detract from the fact that periods of little to no content, especially ones this long, hurt content creators too, which is like the polar opposite of what you want to be doing in the modern gaming age. Content creators nowadays are one of, if not the main driving force behind games. They provide advertising for a game for like tens of millions of people for free. It honestly doesn't matter if your game is a bad, broken, clunky mess. If you have big YouTubers and big streamers playing it every day, then it's almost guaranteed to be a hit. Just look at H1Z1 and PUBG. Those two games were two of the clunkiest messes that I think I've ever played, and both were exceptionally popular because of streamers. It's almost impossible for like any new blood to come into the Halo YouTube scene right now, because honestly there's just nothing fresh to make content about, and Halo's streaming is in an even worse situation. Existing YouTubers and streamers have very little to make content about that hasn't already been done or discussed, and my worry is that Infinite won't end up coming out until like 2020, with nothing in between now and then, which is only going to make this problem infinitely worse, pardon the pun. Games like Fortnite are so fucking popular because there's always something new to make content about. I mean, hell, if it wasn't for streamers, Fortnite probably wouldn't even be around right now. I know firsthand that 343 definitely know how important it is to keep their community and also their content creators happy and satiated. I just hope that they have more plans for us between now and when Infinite comes out. Especially if it isn't releasing until 2020, because, my god, that is going to be a long dry spell. And my final worry for this video, at least, is the elephant in the room. The worry that everybody has for practically any AAA franchise nowadays. Microtransactions. Now, it's not all doom and gloom. A while ago, one of my tweets ended up doing the rounds in gaming media because Chris Lee, the studio head for Halo Infinite at 343, replied to it clarifying our worries about Infinite micros. Basically, he said that Infinite won't include any real money loot boxes, which sounds great, right? And yeah, it kind of is. The wording is awfully specific, and it causes the pessimist in me to worry why it's so specific. Just because a game doesn't let you outright buy loot boxes doesn't mean that it won't both A, include them, and B, allow you to buy them indirectly. Just take Rainbow Six Siege for example. You can't physically buy alpha packs, but what you can do is buy the premium currency, Renown, with real life money, and then use that Renown to buy the alpha packs. That, or you can spend hours on end grinding just to get one pack without paying. Now, I'm worried that this is exactly what Infinite's microtransactions are going to be like. I'm also worried about what the microtransactions are going to give you. The big thing now is to lock all cosmetics behind either microtransactions or artificially extended grinds that encourage you to buy microtransactions. This is the case in Halo 5, in Fortnite, in Siege, in PUBG, in Black Ops 4, and many other games. Right now, gameplay-altering microtransactions are way too dangerous for devs to implement, because the potential backlash they cause can cause significant damage, like just look at Battlefront 2. But at the same time, they still have to satisfy their investors' loot box-fueled overinflated needs with some sort of microtransactions. Now, given how long Infinite is going to have been in development by the time it comes out, Microsoft's return on investment is going to be even higher than ever before. And so I'm really worried that we'll end up getting a super cool looking art style with tons of cool looking armors, and maybe even armor for Elite too, but end up having to unlock literally everything through microtransactions or a battle pass type system. One of Halo's biggest selling points is how deep its customization is, and how badass you can make your Spartan or your Elite look. Ever since microtransactions made their way into Halo with Halo 5, however, this has been significantly watered down, to the point where there's less customization in Halo 5 than there was in Halo 3, which is frankly ridiculous. I'm really worried that 343 are going to be almost forced into monetizing the entire customization system, because they can't do game-altering monetization at the risk of a very valid backlash, and they're going to have to make even more revenue than usual because of the game's extended development cycle. I don't know, man. Let's just say that none of those factors add up to anything consumer-friendly.
Medic research.
So, they are 3 of my biggest worries for Halo Infinite, and why I'm cautiously optimistic. I'm still really excited for this game, don't get me wrong, but my days of being a blind Halo fanboy are long over. An honourable mention for this list is the gameplay. I'm still really worried that Halo Infinite is going to be another enhanced mobility Halo game, but quite frankly, I honestly don't have the mental energy anymore to talk about this. I've made my stance and my supporting evidence for said stance abundantly clear over the past few years, and honestly, I'm done talking about it, until at least we see some gameplay. Alrighty, they are my worries for Halo Infinite. I hope you guys enjoyed my constructive ranting. Like I said, I'm still very much cautiously optimistic. I'd love to hear any of your thoughts or worries or fears that you have for the game down below in the comments as well, so definitely leave them down there. Thank you so much to everybody supporting me over on Patreon. The huge support recently has honestly blown me away, so thank you so much. Ardent, Tomahawk, Momo, Shikata, Mjolnir, Matthew, Pierre, Tony, Jim, Theo, Michael, Resnek, Fish, Joshua, Jack Madden, Eric Brown, Sam Grafton, Bruin98, Hayden Woods, Matthew Brown, Gareth Davies, Renegade Ginger, Wimmy Goat, Sergeant Swords, and Zach Youngblood. That is a lot of people. Thank you guys so much for watching and supporting. I really, really do appreciate it. And I'll catch you in the next one.
You bet. I'm there.
Hey guys, this is Chris on Halo Follower, and today we'll be looking over the top 10 Halo campaign moments. So let's get into it.
Healthcare.gov is open this year for you to sign up for a health plan. It's open November 1st
to December 15th. Now is the only time
to get coverage or change plans.
December 15th is the final deadline.
Plans cover wellness visits, prescription drugs, and more.
See if you qualify for assistance.
Healthcare.gov open enrollment. November 1st to December 15th. November 1st to December 15th.
Turret improved. Turret improved.
Hey guys, welcome back. I'm really fucking hyped for Halo Infinite. I'm also really fucking hyped for Doom Eternal. Now, aside from both their names almost meaning the same thing, these two cool-ass games also share one other key feature. Their main characters are 2 of the most badass, iconic super soldiers in gaming history, both sporting an incredibly violent legacy of tearing through wave after wave of aliens with ease. So, seeing as you guys enjoyed the last one so much,
Mac improved.
I've partnered up with Roanoke Gaming once again to pit these 2 gaming juggernauts against each other to see which super soldier would reign victorious in a 1v1 fight to the death. Just like before, I'm going to cover the Master Chief side of things before finishing with who I think would win, and Roanoke is going to cover the Doom Guy side of things in his video, for which there'll be a link at the top of the description. So, without any further ado, I present to you the totally unbiased Chief side of the fight, something he always likes to finish. The Master Chief is a Spartan II, a class of Spartan super soldier that is arguably still the UNSC's most elite today. Like his other Spartan II brothers and sisters, he was kidnapped at the age of 6 and forced into a life of hardcore military training to ensure that he became the best he could possibly be. His childhood and adolescence consisted of being put through extreme stamina, tactical and combat training at highly top secret facilities on Reach, where he constantly ranked the highest in his class before being pumped full of countless experimental chemicals during his augmentation. These chemicals and medical procedures greatly enhance Chief's visual perception, muscle mass, bone structure, strength, endurance, reflexes, intelligence, and made his bones practically unbreakable.
Supply pad upgraded.
This, combined with his height of 6'10" and weight of 130 kilograms, makes him a fucking behemoth. And that's before we talk about his Mjolnir armor. So even unarmored, Chief is an absolute tank. But with his Mjolnir armor, he practically becomes Shagohod. When armored up, he reaches a height of 7'2" and a weight of 451 kilos. His armor also provides him with even more strength, resolve, and combat prowess, thanks to the useful heads-up display inside the helmet. A neural implant is inserted into his skull during augmentation, which allows the Mjolnir armor to work synonymously with his body, turning it from a suit of armor to what is essentially just an extension of his already extremely powerful body. The armor itself is crafted from a thick titanium alloy, capable of stopping most small arms fire and putting up a pretty strong defense against larger rounds too, and even armor-piercing ones as well, although they are able to eventually pierce the armor. To counter the use of plasma weaponry, the titanium is also given a refractive coating, so the heat from the plasma is dispersed, which minimises the damage, although this again doesn't entirely stop it. One of Chief's closest squad members, Linda 058, was almost killed by plasma fire while wearing Mark V, so even though it's resilient to plasma, it's most definitely not invincible to it. The Mjolnir also comes with a fail-safe self-destruct option, which not only prevents the tech from falling into enemy hands, but allows the user to go out in a blaze of martyrdom. If Chief did happen to go down in battle, he could activate this failsafe, overloading the suit's microfusion reactor and burning everything in a 10-meter radius before exploding, sending himself out with a bang. The suit also grants him energy shields, increased movement speed and jump height, and the ability to utilize an AI companion for maximum battlefield efficiency. Of course, later on during his career, Chief served with Cortana, a smart AI created directly from the brain of Dr. Catherine Halsey, the creator of the Spartan program. Beneath the armor is a titanium nanocomposite black undersuit that provides another strong level of ballistic protection, while also remaining incredibly flexible. Inside the suit is a layer of liquid metal that acts as sort of an artificial muscle extension to increase Chief's overall strength and maneuverability, along with biofoam injectors to quickly seal a wound, which means that if Chief gets wounded in battle, he can continue fighting with ease. Force multiplying circuits are also located inside the suit, which greatly enhance any force applied by it, making Chief's hand-to-hand combat extremely lethal. Master Chief is incredibly strong and armoured, no doubt, but his Mjolnir, no matter the variant or generation, massively increases his lethality to a level that is pretty much unmatched by anything, making him practically unstoppable in combat. This hyper-lethality has been battle-tested countless times, and after each skirmish, Chief comes out a tougher Spartan. To go through each and every conflict that Chief has served in would probably take years. No service record is as long or as decorated as his, but we can briefly cover some highlights. So Chief's first ever mission was at the mere age of 13, where he and some of his fellow Spartan 2s were tasked with capturing an insurrection's leader, Colonel Robert Watts, a task that they successfully completed with ease, despite the fact that this mission was undertaken before any of the Spartans even had their Mjolnir. Later that year, however, he fought in the Battle of Kai Seti IV, alongside his other Spartan 2s, who this time were all decked out in their new Mark IV Mjolnir. It took place very shortly after humanity first made hostile contact with the Covenant on Harvest, and resulted in Chief and co. taking down a large Covenant ship, the Unrelenting. A year later, in 2526, he helped rescue remaining survivors from the Corbulo Military Academy on Sicinius IV, a very, very bloody battle in which the casualties massively outweighed the survivors. Despite that, Chief massively displayed his combat prowess during this battle, single-handedly taking down a pair of hunters, one of which he killed with nothing but a well-placed grenade. Now, as badass as all of this is for the sake of time and importance, let's skip forward to Chief's most notable battles, because this ain't no history lesson. Reach and the Halo event. When the fall of Reach began, Chief was dedicated to saving it. He'd grown up there. The planet was practically his own. So despite some higher-ups being adamant that it was a lost cause, he ignored them still and did everything he could to save it. In the process, he lost numerous Spartan brothers and sisters, but he continued to fight on. With the help of Blue Team, he did all that he could, but ultimately, Reach was in fact a lost cause, regardless of his efforts. Chief then left Reach in cryosleep on board the Pillar of Autumn before being awoken to the discovery of Halo. Now, with the help of his AI Cortana, who enhanced his abilities even further, he proceeded to fend off the Covenant, defeat the Flood, and destroy the Ring. He then met up with some members of Blue Team and destroyed the Covenant battle station, the Unyielding Hierophant, which had managed to attain Earth coordinates, which, if he hadn't managed to do, would have been pretty catastrophic for the human force. During the battle, Chief aided in the destruction of 498 of the Prophet of Truth ships, creating a massive dent in the entire Covenant armada. He then acquired his new, upgraded Mark 6 and proceeded to defend Earth from the Covenant, before chasing Regret off to Delta Halo, killing him, and inflicting a massive blow to the Covenant's leadership. He then defended Earth for the second time, but this time it wasn't just from the Covenant, it was from the Flood too, before following Truth to the Ark, where he and the Arbiter put an end to the Covenant, once and for all. Then he defeated the Flood, again, and destroyed yet another Halo, before being sucked into a mysterious planet and almost single-handedly defeating the most decorated, notorious Forerunner warrior to ever exist. Now, I could go on and on and on about Chief's history, but really all you need to know is that he's served in countless wars, and no human, alien, or zombie that ever crossed him is still alive today, no matter their size, strength, or importance. Through all these trials and tribulations, Chief learnt a unique skill that no specific training could have ever taught him: the ability to use alien technology. Any form of alien weaponry, vehicle, or technology, Chief can use with ease and lethality, which is a massive benefit on the battlefield, especially when ammo is low. He also has one more thing on his side that nobody else does, one thing that stays with him no matter what: luck. So, when we stack up all of Chief's abilities, strengths, and enhancements, both biological and mechanical of course, how does he stack up against Doomguy? Well, I would have loved to have said that this fight was the closest thing to an unstoppable force meeting an immovable object, but sadly, for our boy Chief, that just isn't the case. Chief might be a hyper-lethal tank, but pretty much everything that he does well, Doomguy just does better. If you want to know the fine details, then now is definitely the time to go and check out Ronuk's video. The link is at the top of the description, but I'll give you the brief details. So Doomguy was responsible for taking out Titan, who was one of the most powerful demons in the entirety of Hell, and his strength is so high that he can quite literally tear demons apart with his bare hands. Given the number of weapons that he can carry while also remaining totally unhindered, his strength seems almost infinite, and this is only enhanced by his seemingly invincible Praetor suit. As strong as Chief Mjolnir is, it's not bulletproof, nor is it plasma-proof. Despite the measures in place to protect it, both ballistics and plasma can break through the titanium armor and undersuit and kill the wearer. Despite their Mjolnir, countless Spartans were killed by the Covenant's plasma weaponry, so Chief is most definitely susceptible to the weapons used by Doomguy. After seeing what Atriox can do to a Mark IV helmet with only one hand, it's also hard to imagine that Doomguy's seemingly infinite strength wouldn't be able to just like straight up fucking crush Chief Mjolnir with his bare hands. I mean, hell, given that he can rip and tear demons to shreds with no weapon whatsoever, he could likely just snap Chief. If not all the time, he could at least do this when overcharged with Berserk, which basically uses energy to enhance his strength even further. He can also overcharge himself with energy to create haste, which allows him to sprint at like 90 miles an hour, so not only could he absolutely annihilate Chief in a fight, he could also really easily escape his Mjolnir's self-destruct system that maybe otherwise would have slightly wounded him. Chief's luck is really the only thing that he has up on Doomguy, but given that he's the literal embodiment of overpowered, I can see this being the first time that Chief's luck doesn't save him. Cortana would also be practically useless against Doomguy as well, as would Chief's augmentations and training. Yeah, they make him really strong, but that's in the Halo universe. Doomguy is responsible for single-handedly taking on the entirety of Hell and coming out without a scratch, whereas Chief has been known to struggle against simple Covenant foot soldiers before. Really doesn't stack up that well. Despite his incredible service record, training, abilities, traits, armor, hyper-lethality, and luck, it makes me very sad to say that Chief would get absolutely fucking steamrolled by Doomguy. Can I get an F in the comments, please, my boys? An F in the comments. And that should cover one of gaming's most long-lasting...
Fortress upgrade complete.
Let's start this off by saying that the Doomslayer is a being of incomprehensible...
Supply pad complete.
And we're back with another episode of Before You Buy, that show where we give you some straight up gameplay and our first impressions of the latest games releasing. And today we're talking about Fallout 76. It is definitely fall, it's definitely November, because there's a lot of games going on right now. But Fallout 76, for those of you that don't know, is the multiplayer Fallout game. There's been lots of beta and early access and stuff, and we feel like we've finally gotten a good feel for it. And to be straight up, this is my personal opinion, of course, but I'm not the biggest fan of this game as is. Fallout 76 is definitely going to be divisive. I think you're either going to love it or you're going to hate it. You can say the same thing about this video, probably. But 76 is a different type of Fallout game. It's Bethesda trying something different, and the potential is there. I just don't know if I'm here for it right now. I don't really think it's the dumpster fire people are making it out to be, but I'm still not crazy about it. And just so you know, this footage is early to be spoiler-free, and it bounces around between a base Xbox One and a current PC. But getting into it, Fallout 76 actually starts nice and briskly. You start out in Vault 76, but you're out and in the world and playing in a matter of minutes. In fact, there's very little build-up or pomp and circumstance to it like a traditional game. It tosses you out into the wilds of West Virginia, and I gotta say, man, the environment itself is gorgeous, and it feels pretty different for a modern Fallout game. Seeing this wide open, strange new environment made me feel genuinely excited to explore it. I think that's probably the biggest highlight of the game for me. The geography is pretty unique, while also managing to have quite a bit of variety to it. Some areas are in worse conditions than others after the war. Some areas are flat, some areas are hilly or mountainous, some are dry, some are dense with vegetation. And there's always stuff hidden around a corner. You know, a weird box to loot, a haunted house to explore, corpses with mysterious letters or hollow tapes attached to them. But that's really all the game gives you. The real problem is, it's just not that exciting to play. I found myself getting bored. The early hours are rough. It does get more interesting once you try different areas, but ultimately, man, the base quests are just kind of lame for me. The game seems to be designed as a vague framework, leaving it up to you and your friends to find your own fun in this sandbox world, and yeah, you're going to hear that a lot. The biggest defense for this game is it's absolutely better with friends, and I do think that's a valid defense and compliment to the game. It's just one that I don't totally jive with. Most quests devolve to just basic combat scenarios or getting to a computer and typing something in or talking to a robot. And that's hugely disappointing and has worse ramifications for the rest of the game. Because when Bethesda announced that there would be no traditional NPCs or non-player characters in the game world like a typical Fallout game, I had some concerns, but I held faith and belief in Bethesda that they were gonna just, you know, have a new idea or something with this. They were trying something different. The idea that it made stumbling upon a real person in the game as a survivor a big deal because the world is so lonely sounded kind of cool, but whether you're with folks or not, this world still manages to feel empty and weird, and not in a way where it's trying to evoke it. It's not like creepy in an exciting or mysterious way. It's just not very thrilling at all, at least not to me. Yeah, quests are one thing and the adventure is one thing, but events seem to be fairly decent. They start off small and very boring, with you just killing X amount of a basic enemy type, but you give it a few hours, spend some time, you'll be doing weird dungeons and like mad dashes to gather components for something, or fighting off a giant enemy. This is definitely the game at its best, hands down. Some teamwork can be required, and it can just be good old-fashioned video game fun, and it feels satisfying whether you're alone or with pals or randoms in that sense. Some of your enjoyment with this game, though, is going to come down to how much you enjoyed certain elements of Fallout 4. Did you like building? Well, there's a lot of that here, and even more emphasis on picking up everything you see and breaking it down to components. I like that in Fallout 4 and was totally hooked on it, and I quickly became hooked on building stuff again here. Having your own little base camp that you can build up in the world that others can see is pretty creative and cool, and I've stumbled upon quite a few other players with their own little creative hideaways already. Now, if you weren't into that part of Fallout 4, you might not be here, even though at least here it's almost like you have more of a sense of ownership. There's also a lot of emphasis on cooking, repairing, and crafting, and modding, because weapons degrade really pretty quickly, and you're constantly hungry and thirsty. If you're into that stuff, into those mechanics, hey, there's plenty here. Crafting from Fallout 4, but now it's a full-time job. If you're into that, that's awesome. But to me, it leads to lots of rummaging around for trash in kind of a lonely world. And it just all feels just a little bit off. That's what I'd say about the whole game. But combat is Fallout combat. Love it or hate it. When the game can keep up with it, I think the shooting feels pretty competent. The melee attacks feel slightly off, though. It's like a distance thing where it's hard to judge sometimes the latency on swinging, and it feels kind of whack, no pun intended. VATS, however, is a disappointment to some, but I don't get the criticism because really it's an online game. How could they slow it down? This is basically the best they could have done. Basically, it works as like a timed auto target. You only have access to it if you have AP points, and it lets you essentially hard lock onto an enemy, and depending on the distance and depending on your level, that's where the percentage will be affected. I don't know, it's weird. It does feel partially useless, but sometimes I get it, sometimes it works. Honestly, I'm not convinced on it. I think if they just scrapped it entirely, I think the game would have been fine without it. On the other hand, though, the new special system, the new way you build up and level a character, the card-based system, while it doesn't feel as RPG-ish as the reasons why I love Fallout, building a deck in sense of building a character actually was more satisfying than I expected. I went into it thinking I was going to hate it or thinking it would feel really dumbed down, and while it is more simple, I still got satisfaction out of it. Now, the quality of the combat experience really falls upon the performance of the game, which is my one last big issue with this game. I've had a lot of time with it, and with it being my job, I was able to get my hands on it on the PC version, the Xbox One X version, and then the base Xbox One version. And I gotta say, on a base console, at times the frame rate and crashing almost made the game unplayable for me. It was really disappointing. I know Bethesda games have their glitches and their bugs, but the core performance here affects how fun combat it really is, and when the frame rate gets bad, it feels really craptastic, and when you get into the denser town and city areas, the frame rate, forget about it. The game is brought to its knees. On PC, obviously, it's had some publicized issues lately, but I've been able to get into matches and stuff, and at least the performance and frame rate is more playable. I don't usually harp on this technical stuff unless it actually affects the experience of the game, and I think here for Fallout 7,
He's in your